Okay guys, so here's the next question that we're moving on to. Question number 11. It says, which is the graph of the equation y is equal to 2x squared plus 13x plus 6? I just want to remind you once again that what we are doing right now is I'm giving you the exact same question on the final, and all I'm doing is changing the equation in this case, okay? So everything else is exactly the same. Now obviously the color graphs that I'm giving you, I use Desmos to create these graphs. And then I just, I'm posting it right here so you can select which one is the best one. Now on your test, it won't tell you that the y-intercept is 0, 6 like this, okay? You would have to actually just look at the graph and figure it out. But on Desmos, it was very difficult for you to figure it out. So I just went ahead and made sure that you can see it like that. So we have three options, okay? We have A, B, and C. This is A, this is B, and the red graph is C. Okay, so in this case, what is the graph of the equation? Now over here where I said find the y-intercept and vertex, this is not part of the question. This is a hint that I am giving you so you can actually find the correct answer. Okay? So then, first of all, we all remember, how do we find the y-intercept? What's the y-intercept, guys? Eduardo, do you know what the y-intercept is by looking at the graph? Okay, so what would it be? Is there anybody who remembers? It was a long break. Oh, no. That's the slope-intercept form. Thank you for trying. Yes? 0.6. 0.6? No, that's the y-intercept. Oh, yes, 0.6 is the y-intercept. But how did you find it? How did you find it? By looking at the equation.
Because you have the plus 6 at the end.
Good job. You see the number by itself over here, the plus 6? That is your y-intercept, okay? And so it's really important that you know what this is. Because if you don't know what the y-intercept is, on the test, there's going to be many different graphs and they might have different y-intercepts. On this one, I purposely gave you 3 equations with all the same y-intercept. Okay? Because this is so easy, right? But on the actual test, you're going to have 2 examples like this, and then 2 examples that are completely wrong. Okay? One of them is going to have like a graph that goes sideways. That doesn't even make sense because this is a quadratic formula and we all know about parent graphs, right? Okay, so there you go. The y-intercept is 6 and all 3 graphs have 0.6 as their y-intercept. So then the next thing we got to figure out is the vertex. Now this is when everybody starts going crazy because finding the vertex is quite difficult using the method that I taught you earlier at the beginning of the semester, which was changing that into what? Vertex form, right? So instead of actually us having to go through that, I gave you an easier way to do it, didn't I? Okay, so let's go ahead and explore the easier method that I gave you. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to write the equation down. 2x squared plus 13x. Uh-oh, why isn't this typing? Plus 6, right? And we all agreed that the plus 6 is the y-intercept, right? Okay, now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find the vertex. And instead of going through the very difficult way, you still have to know how to do it. But for this question, we're going to use the easy way. To find the vertex, remember what we did? To find the axis of symmetry, the formula was x is equal to negative b over 2a. Okay? And so we have to all first know what our ABC is. And that is not that difficult. The number 2 is an A. Okay? And number 13 is a B. And then 6 is a C. And we all know that the C is the y-intercept. Okay? So now let's go ahead and plug it in. Okay? All we're doing is copying the exact same thing. And then we're going to put x is equal to, and then I copy the negative because that's part of the formula. And then I have to look for the b. And the b is what? 13 over. And I copy the 2 because that's part of the formula. And then what's the a? The a is a 2. Okay, so then just this alone tells me what? 2 times 2 is 4. So negative 13 over 4 is going to be the x value of my vertex. To find the y value, I actually have to plug it in. So it's going to be negative 13 over 4, comma, something. And you know what goes into the circle? You got to actually plug in the negative 13 over 4 into this equation over here. But for the purposes of us finding the correct answer, we don't even have to go all that far. Okay? Now if you go back, let's take a look at negative 13 over 4. In decimal form, what would that be? That would be negative 3 point something, 25, right? Okay, so then, now if you go back, your vertex is supposed to be at negative 3.25. So then, your x value, look at this one right here. What number do you think that is? Definitely not a negative number because it's in between 0 and 5. Right? Okay, so it's actually positive 3.25. Is it going to be this one right here? No, because the vertex here it says is what? 0, 6. And that's not what we're looking for. So then what do you think our answer would be? Obviously C, because here's the vertex. And you can't really tell what number this is, but you know that it's in between 0 and negative 5, right? So this is actually negative 3.25. Okay? So your answer would be C. Alright? So this is actually quite important. And I have a similar question for you. So there you go. I want you to go ahead and work on this question next. Okay? Now let me see if I could actually scroll it down a little bit more so you can see the full thing. Okay, maybe that worked. Okay, so I want you to work on this. Ready? Go. Okay, so now that we are done with the practice question, again, I do apologize for not giving you numbers for this graph right here. Okay, now we're going to scroll down. Okay, hold on. Okay, so now let's take a look at question number 12. And of course, I didn't finish typing it out. I didn't have enough time. So I'm going to try and fill that in right there. Let me pause it. First, copy this, and then I'm going to write down the equation for you right now, okay? Let me go ahead and put in the equation for you right here. It's not enough space, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write it right here. Okay? I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to put it right there for you. And so the equation that you have is what I really like about this question, this is my favorite question on the finals so far. Because even though this is a multiple choice test, it actually makes you think and do the math, right? And so this is a question that makes Miss Choi really happy. And I think that it will make you really happy too because you gotta think. Now, if you take a look at this question carefully, it says assuming the equation, and the equation is right here, is correct. Because you know I gotta change the equation, right? Which of the following equations must also be correct? And it says on the question, select all that apply. What that basically means is you have options A, B, C, D, and E. And on this question, you have about 3 correct responses. And the only way you can figure out which are the correct responses are only if you actually know how to solve this. Okay? So, let's take a look over here. The first thing that you have to do over here, what do you think is the first step? Yeah, what did you say? Yes, you have to combine like terms, and that's the first thing you have to do. Okay, so pretty much I see an x squared and an x squared, but I don't see x squares anywhere else, right? So let's combine them together. So I'm going to just write x squared, and I'm going to do it right here. Oh, well, right here. X squared, and then 2 plus 1 is 3, right? So then now we're going to go ahead and combine the x's together. Okay, so now let's go ahead and change my color, maybe to red. And then we're going to go ahead and put the x's together, right? Now, I know that there's no x's over here, right? So I just have to worry about the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and copy down the x. And now I'm going to go 3 plus 10, which is 13x, right? And that equals, let's see, 8 plus 2. Wow, that's easy.
10.
That's 10. And guess what? This step right here is one of the options. And it would just ask you right there. Well, is 3x squared plus 13x equal to 10? Is that one of the answers? And yes, obviously this would be one of the answers. Right? Okay, now what will be your next step from here in order for you to find the correct answer? You have to leave the x all by itself, so what do you have to do? The 10, right? How did you see the 15? So then, you got to make sure that one side is equal to 0, so you got to subtract 10 from both sides. And what that's going to give you is 3x squared plus 13x minus 10, and that equals 0. Okay? Now, is this going to be one of the answers? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm just going to assume that it is, and I'm just going to put it here. I'm going to tell you that almost every single step is the answer, though. Okay? Now, from here, what do you have to do, guys? We have to actually do the big X in order to solve this. Or, you can use the quadratic formula. Okay? In this case, I already know that we can use the big X. So I'm going to go ahead and use the big X, okay? I don't think I have enough space here, but I'm going to try and squeeze it in, okay? Let me at least use a different color so it stands out. So there you go. I have my big X, and what number goes on top? Come on, don't tell me you forgot this.
Oh, the big number, the 13.
No.
10.
What was it? The 3 times what?
3 times.
The 3 times negative 10 goes on top. The 3 times negative 10, which is negative 30, goes on top. What goes at the bottom? 13. I'm very proud of you. Okay, so now what times what is negative 30 and what plus what is 13? Well,
10 and 3.
10 and 3? Oh yeah. 1 times 30 is 30. 2 times 15 is 30. And then 3 times 10 is 30. And you're right. 3 and 10, we can make 13. But no, we can't. Because it's a negative. Right? So, since it's a negative 3, one of the two numbers have to be negative. So, it has to be 2 and 15, right? Negative 2 and 15. Because 15 minus 2 is 13. Yay. So here's my answer, negative 2 and 15. And I like to circle my answers so I don't get confused later on. Okay? Alright, so then now I gotta move on to my fraction bar that I don't have space for over here. So let me see if I could erase. Oh gosh. So there you go, let me erase this part. Okay. And so I have my fraction bars. And so what number do I put on top?
3.
Yes, we're going to put the leading coefficient 3 on top. And then what are we going to put at the bottom, guys? No. Yeah, the two answers that we just came up with, right? Good job. The negative 2 and the 15 is what we're going to put at the bottom. And then we're going to try and simplify these fractions. 3 and negative 2. Can we simplify? No, what about 3 and 15? Yes. Yes, and that becomes 1 and 5 because we can divide the top and the bottom by 3, right? So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my 2 parentheses. And yeah, that's going to be one of the options, believe it or not. So it's going to be 3x minus 2 times x plus 5. And that equals 0. And then finally, you have to find out what the correct answer is, right? So then, in order for you to find that, can I erase all of this? Yes? No? Can I erase at least the top part? Okay, I'm going to erase this top part. Because I have to. Okay, so then now we have 3x minus 2 and x plus 5 is equal to 0. So what do you think our answer is going to be? Remember the zero product property? We have to say that this is equal to 0 and x plus 5 is equal to 0. Right? We got to leave the x by itself, so what do we have to do first? We gotta go ahead and add 2 to both sides. Yes, good job. Yeah, by the way, if you don't know how to do this step, we have a big problem, right? So 3x is equal to 2. And then we're going to divide both sides by 3. So x is equal to 2 over 3. And then over here, I need to subtract both sides by 5. So x is going to equal -5. And so you know what? The test is really clever in that they're asking you which one of these are correct. And then over here, they will give you something silly like okay, so this would be basically your question, right? So which of the following equations must also be correct? What is your correct answer? Because we actually solved the whole problem. We already know what the correct answers are. This is correct, this is correct, this is correct, and that is correct, right? D is the only answer that is not correct, okay? So it becomes really important in this question that you know how to simplify that equation and go all the way to the answer. And every single step is basically the correct answer that you have to select. That's why I like this question, because if you don't know how to solve them, then you wouldn't be able to get this question correct, because there are more than one correct answers. Okay? So now, of course, it's your turn. I'm going to go ahead and give you a similar question. Okay. Okay, and so this is it. This is the question that I want you to solve, and that's it. So go ahead and raise your hand if you're ready or if you're stuck, because it's really important that you understand this, okay? Ready? Go.